I'm Trench Reynolds. I write crime. The streets may be quiet, but don't be fooled. Somewhere out there, another name is being added to a headline. Another body is going cold. And somewhere, in a dim room, lit by the glow of a monitor, another tragedy is being planned. Today's story starts in Nashville, Tennessee, a city of music, money, and mayhem. But the song that played on January 22nd, 2025 wasn't country. It was the cold metallic crack of gunfire, the echo of institutional failure. This is the story of a school shooting, of a boy who shouldn't have been there, of a system that looked the other way, and of a transnational hate cult that may have whispered in his ear. January 22nd, Antioch High School. Just another morning of lukewarm coffee and teenagers trying not to look tired. But by noon, the cafeteria floor was stained with blood. 17-year-old Solomon Henderson walked in with a handgun. He raised it. He fired. 16-year-old Jocelyn Correa Escalante never stood a chance. She dropped to the floor in front of her classmates. Seconds later, Henderson turned the gun on himself. It was quick, it was brutal, and it was the first school shooting of the year. But this school wasn't soft, at least not on paper. Antioch High School had a secure vestibule. It had school resource officers. It even had AI-powered gun detection cameras scanning the building for threats. But none of it mattered. The gun slipped through the cracks. The boy did too. And just like that, another teenage girl was dead. Another name carved into a headstone that never should have existed. Solomon Henderson was no clean slate. No misunderstood outcast. He was a slow-motion disaster, unfolding one warning sign at a time. Back in November of 2023, Henderson was arrested. The charge? Aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor. The crime? Downloading and distributing CSAM. He admitted to posting it on Discord, not just collecting it, sharing it, like it was part of some sick social currency. The court ordered restrictions. No internet, no devices, no social media. But Henderson never really stopped. He kept posting, kept lurking. His digital footprint led to incel forums, racist meme dumps, neo-Nazi propaganda, places where law, empathy, and reason go to die. After a stint in a mental health facility, the CSAM case was quietly retired. Treatment completed. Another file closed. Another mistake. In October of 2024, the violence got closer. Henderson brought a box cutter to school and threatened a girl. A girl who had the audacity to say hello. He told staff he'd cut anyone who came near him. The punishment? A 2-day suspension. That's it. By January, he was granted judicial diversion. The court told him to stay home, be homeschooled, avoid the girl he threatened, and most importantly, stay away from guns. On the very morning of the shooting, Henderson and his mother signed paperwork agreeing to those terms. By lunchtime, they were broken. He was inside the school, armed, ready, a promise in ink, dissolved in blood. Now here's where things get even darker. Because Solomon Henderson may not have been acting entirely alone. Not in the planning, and not in the ideology. Investigators have uncovered online activity that points to a disturbing possibility. Henderson's social media accounts appear to have been followed and possibly interacted with by another name you might know, Natalie Ruppnow. the 15-year-old shooter behind the Abundant Life Christian School attack in Madison, Wisconsin. Just a month before Henderson opened fire, Rupnow walked into her private school with a Glock and a Sig Sauer and left a trail of bodies behind. She died in the attack. Her father was later arrested for providing her access to the weapons. Police say Natalie was steeped in the same digital rot: Columbine worship, violent manifestos, and radicalized friendships with adult men who encouraged her violence. But it's the possible overlap between Rupnow and Henderson that chills the bones. Because if they were in contact, and the trail points that way, it means we're not just looking at two separate tragedies, we're looking at a network. A digital web of teenage time bombs trading ideology like Pokemon cards, feeding each other fantasies of violence and infamy. But it doesn't stop there, because someone else may have been whispering in Henderson's ear. Not a teenager, not a Columbiner, a cult leader. Mikhail Shinavashvili, known online as Commander Butcher. He's a 21-year-old Georgian national extradited from Moldova and arraigned in Brooklyn federal court in May of 2025. The U.S. government says he's one of the most dangerous international extremists you've never heard of. They claim he helped lead the Maniac Murder Cult, or MKY, a global neo-Nazi group that urges members to commit hate-fueled violence, film it, and share it for clout. Their propaganda manual? The so-called Hater's Handbook, a step-by-step guide to mass murder. Prosecutors say Shinavashvili plotted a New Year's Eve mass poisoning in New York, candy laced with ricin. The targets? Jewish children. That plane was stopped, but others weren't. A stabbing in Turkey, a murder in Romania, and now the Antioch High School shooting. In court filings, the DOJ claims that Henderson explicitly referenced Shinavashvili in his writings, called him by name, cited MKY, said the shooting was partly carried out on their behalf. He even said he planned to write Commander Butcher's name on his gun. It sounds insane, because it is. Henderson was black. Shinavashvili is a white supremacist cult leader. The ideology hates people like Henderson. But extremism isn't about logic. It's about anger, about control, about hating yourself and finding someone worse to blame. Other shooters have done it before, embraced racist, anti-Semitic, and incel propaganda while being part of the very groups those ideologies despise. You don't need consistency to kill, you just need rage. And someone to tell you where to aim it. 4 months after the Antioch shooting, another student was caught with a loaded handgun on campus. Said he brought it for protection at his after-school job. Said he forgot it was in his bag. No one got hurt. This time. But that school is still bleeding. Not from gunfire, from negligence. From the false belief that a few cameras and a signed form will keep killers at bay. Henderson wasn't supposed to be there. Not with a weapon, not in school, but the system let him in. Natalie Rupnow wasn't supposed to get access to guns either. Her father made sure she did. And across the world, Commander Butcher told his followers that America was the perfect place for mass murder, because here, getting a gun is easy. And he's not wrong. We live in an era of digital death cults, of children radicalized by memes, of courtrooms more interested in redemption than restraint. The stories are starting to blur. Columbine, Uvalde, Parkland, Madison, Antioch. Different names, same silence, same indifference, same failure. And behind it all, the voices in the dark keep whispering. telling the angry and the broken that there's glory in the gun. There isn't. Just more funerals, more names, more blood drying on tile floors. Thank you for listening. Not everything I write ends up on YouTube. If you're looking for the full archive of 25 years worth of crime coverage, analysis, and commentary, you can find it all where I write crime at realcrime.net. And if you want to support the work, help keep the lights on, and keep the stories coming, head over to patreon.com/Trench Reynolds. Every dollar helps. Now listen, I know you know how to do the YouTube things, but if this story has meant something to you, if it stayed with you, do me a solid. Hit like, share it around, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps more than you might think. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your kids away from Nazis. I'm Trench Reynolds, and I write crime.